let me be clear. This is the first year we've ever had any money in a budget to invest in a Zoom account with webinar capacities. I like to give ourselves a little snaps for that because it's actually hard work just getting to a point where you can reach the people. That doesn't happen easily. There's a lot that has to happen behind the scenes. Um, Today though, we ain't talking about all of the behind the scenes stuff. You know, those conversations get dirty and mucky and stuff. We try to be transparent with this clean glass that we got people drinking out of, you know, because people can tell the difference between a clean glass and a dirty glass.
Mm.
And if they're given the choice to drink water out of a dirty glass or a clean glass, they will choose the clean glass every time. So, welcome to After Selma, building the beloved community in Newburgh. We are today, we chose today to talk about our work, even though it put a little bit of pressure on us to put this together in time. We chose today because we want to honor our martyrs. We want to honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and recognize that today was the day he was assassinated, the day that someone was hateful enough to kill to prevent
Mm.
the building of a beloved community, that we carry the mantle of work that Martin Luther King Jr. passed on through Dr. Bernard Lafayette Jr. He's our lead trainer of trainers and the person that we get firsthand history and lessons about organizing and the very principles of Kingian nonviolence. So that's why we're here for end of the day. Also, I was thinking, I worked in some systems administrations positions before, and it might be nice to have an easy 90-minute block at the end of your Friday so that you can tell your boss, hey, 3:30, I'm going to be in this webinar. And the truth is, like, you could do what you got to do. Pay attention, try to hear what you can, see what you can. But at the end of the day, this will be recorded. You'll be able to review it. And it's our attempt to document basically uh, who we are and what we do. That's our purpose here. And I think it doesn't require more introduction than that to say that we want to officially announce ourselves to the community beyond Liberty Street, because that's where we're pretty much most well known right now. If you are a resident of Newburgh and you come out on Liberty Street on a Monday afternoon, you'll see us out there with our free to feed program, distributing fresh fruits and vegetables and engaging the community to learn about what issues are impacting Newburgh right now. Um, and so I'm gonna start with who we are. And I actually spent a lot of time working on these slides, so don't laugh. We'll start with myself, Jose Pineda. I got a big, long bio that is pretty impressive at the end of the day. When we put this together and we were putting all of our bios together, we were looking at the body of work that we've accumulated individually and then collectively. We're like, wow, there's a lot of experience, a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge here. And then I was thinking about what are the things on our bios though that we don't get a chance to talk enough about. So one of the things that I'm gonna ask the Kenyatta, Demetrius, and Lizette in an introductory manner, like, what are the things on your bio that you don't often get a chance to talk enough about? For me, when I was hired by the State University of New York to support their college and prison programming across the state, the office was called SUNY's Office of Higher Education for the Justice Involved. I hold firmly to the belief that we should not be identifying incarcerated community members as justice involved, and that there's really nothing about justice that has to do with our criminal legal system. And so my first day on the job, my first team meeting, I started the initiative to change the office's name. And so now we're the Office of Higher Education in Prison, with no indication or no implicit justifying of the incarceration of our loved ones for extensive periods of time for any kind of crime. Um, I'm gonna pass it to Demetrius. Demetrius is gonna have to jump off because my brother is like Superman over there, about to go in and bring some wisdom to the people inside. So, Demetrius, I'm gonna. Oh, also one last thing I want to just say too, though. You see that little picture in the background? That's me, 12 years old. That's the first time I entered the system when I was 12 years old, and I didn't really ever get out until I was 41. So there's like this moment of reckoning has been a long time coming, more or less. I wanted to make sure that I said that, and now I'm gonna pass it over to my brother Demetrius.
Thank you, Jose. I had a little hard time getting off of mute, but no, thank you, Jose. Thank you for the things that we're doing on Liberty Street and then Liberty Street. Shout out being a resident of Liberty Street. So, one of the things on my bio that rarely gets talked about is actually the first thing, actor. I do theater work, but it is not something that's well known because it's something that I I don't talk a lot about. Um, and it happened um, when I got enrolled in NYTS. Upon my completion of NYTS, this is when I was incarcerated at Sing Sing. Supposed to go back to Fishkill. Wound up going to Otisville where there was a theater program, and I got the theater program there. At the same time, I had lost my mom, and so during this one particular rehearsal, it's just like my morning came out in this character in this role, and I realized like that was the voice that just needed to come out now. And one of the things that theater helped me approach is to recognize and notice those voices that may not be able to come out or people may not be able to access that voice through, their regular dealings and probably need some kind of outlet. For me, theater was that outlet, and one of the things, yeah, I'm an actor.
Thank you very much, Demetrius. You know, when I first found out you was an actor, I was kind of ashamed of myself at having been your friend for so long and having not known that you cared about acting as much as you did. So hopefully we can get together and do some things where we can put on some performances because some of our kids have a lot of artistic leanings. You know what I'm saying? And thank you for sharing that. Then we'll pass it over to. Uh, no, no, jumping too fast, my brother Kenyatta. Kenyatta, you want to share with us something that's on your bio that you or underneath the surface of your bio that you don't get
Mm.
a chance to talk enough about?
Yeah. Again, I just want to echo Demetrius's gratitude for this opportunity and for the beloved community that we're building and this impetus. So, just want to acknowledge that. Something that won't come up on my bio. It mentions musician and things like that. And during my incarceration, I was playing music, and I was in a correctional facility that where the musical community would the administration would kind of trot us out once they discovered that we had certain talent, and when folks would come in from Albany or wherever, but there were no provisions made for us to rehearse or to practice or to have any sort of development. We were all just basically in ourselves, and then we would come together and share what we knew, which has value, but collaboration and communal collaboration, especially for an artistic creation, is really important. And so we, as a collective, as a community, um, took it upon ourselves to stand. And for those of us who have been incarcerated, you understand that even though this is nonviolent, it's a tier three, and it could, get you sent to the box under demonstration rules. But we just refuse to play, and we refuse to perform until some provision was made for us to be able to. And that was the genesis of the music program at Sing Sing before Carnegie or Musicon B or any of those things came in. It was seven guys with guitars. So yeah, the folks don't know about, but that's when the activism in the art intersection happened for me. So
Thank you for bringing into the space what often goes untalked about, and that's the exploitative nature of a lot of the nonprofit work that gets done. It's, people are invested in their careers more than they are in their compassion sometimes. And sometimes we have to stand our ground just to remind people that we're not here to play music for you. We're here to express ourselves and to be ourselves. And hopefully people will value us. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we doing. That's what makes this thing so beautiful, because we will never exploit us. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, Lizette, let me see. I got a slide for you too, Lizette. Hey, where you at?
Last but not least.
Last but not least, Lizette, what am I not reading on this super impressive bio? Because yours was the first one that I started with. I was like, wow, we're gonna have a hard time. But then we didn't. So I was like, all right, we're all awesome.
We are all equally awesome in our own merits, in our own ways. So hello, everybody. One thing, Jose, that is not talked about, that I don't, talk about, put right in my bio, is what I'm studying, right? So it says, doctoral student and stuff, but my research is not talked about in my bio. And so what I am looking at is the relationship between maternal higher education in prison and their children's academic outcomes. There is very little research on on what higher education in prison does for women. There's a lot of research about men, and there's also very little research on what higher education on what incarceration does on maternal incarceration does on children, right? And so what happens to children when their mother gets taken away, right? 90% of the time when the father gets taken away, the child stays home with mom, but only 10% of the time when the mother gets taken away, does the child go to their father. So what happens to these children, right? A lot of them end up in the system. And so, looking at ways to maybe mitigate, those negative effects. And the fact that no one's talking about it is absolutely disgusting, if you ask me. And so my hopes is to have this research not just to be read by, academics, but then to inform legislations to try to, promote more access to education to women in prison.
Did you just say you want to run for governor in 2026?
No, we talked about you doing that.
Okay, because that sounds like some public health education that after incarceration should really be getting behind. I remember the first time I heard about that was in prison, but it wasn't in a men's prison. We never had any kind of real serious dialogue or data on female impacts of incarcerations, and it was all about how it impacted men. And then I came to the conference that they held at Bedford Correctional Facility. The women put on a whole educational conference that rivaled NICHEP. That thing in Atlanta, that thing they got going on in New Orleans in April is not as big of a deal as the thing that they got going on in Bedford Hills, as often as they have it. But and to see all those women who are learning the first time too, that how they're a part of a system that is taking their kids, and not just individuals. It's probably, anyway, it deserves more time, to be honest. um does any would y'all like to reflect on anything? Haven't heard anybody else. I'm thinking about sharing to the community why it is, or what it is, that brings us to this work. And I think about, for me, it's easy. I went to jail as a little kid, and in group homes, my best friends were from Newburgh. And so, like, we used to go AWOL from the group homes when I was 13, 14 years old. We used to run away from Chester, New York, Pius 12, and we used to make it all the way to Newburgh. And I would stay with them, and I would stay with their families, and I would stay with people until the state would come and make sure that both of us went back. And I always felt like Newburgh had always welcomed me. And I feel like there's no better place to be doing the work than Newburgh since I'm in proximity to it. You know, so I say that, and no pressure for anyone else to share. I would start with Demetrius though, because I know he's got the time constraints, and he's also demonstrated some of the greatest commitment that I've seen in this work since I've been home in 5 years. I don't know if you want, you know.
Yeah, let me just say I mean, most of what bring me to this work is a culmination of my education, well, my experience with incarceration and in education and in education within incarceration. Um, because it was this moment where I kind of realized like the miseducation, my miseducation, from sort of where I'm from, right? My community and sort of my culture that miseducated me, and it's like for us to reclaim those communities, no, for communities to reclaim their own surroundings, um, they need this kind of awareness, and like I put myself to that charge of just bringing awareness and that voice of reclamation to um, communities like Newburgh and the Bronx where I'm originally. And just my last name. I'm sorry I got to dip out. But this was great. Thank you.
But this might be you know, I'm never a fan of explanations when you handling your business, but this might be a good opportunity to tell people why you got to head out. You know,
So I gotta head out because as I don't know, everybody might have known the CEOs within the New York State Department of Corrections were on strike. All educational systems were on hold, but now we're back in, and now I'm going in to teach a leadership class to the guys in Green Correctional. So yeah, wish me luck.
we sending you all types of positive energy, all of the success that we've accumulated, all the suffering without retaliation for the sake of a cause to accomplish a goal that Demetrius, you and I in particular have gone through the last couple of years is like that's a source of resilience that our incarcerated community members can really draw upon right now. So like if nothing else, make sure that they know that we out here, we care, and we not turning and facing the wall no more. We're not taking it to our cell. We're not locking in. We're not moving, keeping it moving. We're staying until all of us come home safely. So
Absolutely,
salute.
absolutely.
Lizette or
Thank you.
Kenyatta, you want to popcorn something in?
Yeah, Newburgh is the biggest city next to where I live, right? So that's where all of our shopping is done. That's where we get our car, taken for service. It's where BJ's is when we, it's time for grocery shopping. And so, but it's also a city has, as we're patronizing that community, it's been brought to our attention that there's a lot of violence there, and for me, I think about the kids, right? Because that's kind of like what I do. Coming from being an early elementary school teacher to now teaching men and women in prison, and looking at that school to prison pipeline. I was like, I'm doing the service inside, but why wait until they get inside to get the service, to get the skills that they need to, resolve conflict? And so doing that work ahead of time so that they don't have to experience incarceration, to me was very important. And so, this is why I joined the effort, and I'm really glad I did.
And I think for me it's pretty fundamental. It's there's scripture in Isaiah that says to pray for the peace or for the welfare of the city in which you find yourself. It's also a mantra that is held by New York Theological Seminary, where I obtained my master's while incarcerated, and it's a recognition that Newburgh has some lovely, lovely people. What I've discovered just by doing and being who and what I am, right? As an artist, as an activist, as an advocate, as someone who, by virtue of having had certain experiences, just can't, as you say, turn around and face the wall. Like it's just, it's I don't have it in me. I don't have it in me anymore. Um, and what I've learned by being outside is the amazing, wonderful, beautiful, loving people in Newburgh. It is a city that is full of love and a city that needs love badly. And I need love, so I appreciate it when I get it from that community that has welcomed me, and shared their life, their homes, their children with us. And I have love to give, and so I'm gonna give it as I'm called to give. And yeah, it's really as simple as that.
Man, our young people and our old people, because our Free to Feed initiative, which was initially intended to directly engage formerly incarcerated community members as they exited reporting to parole on Mondays. We wound up building a lot of relationships with a lot of older people that are really encouraged and encouraging when they see us. You know what I'm saying? So like that love it's real, you know, and I thank you for naming it. You know what I'm saying? And um my mom was thinking about what color would that be right now? Like what color would love be right now? And for y'all that don't know, we do in our Kingian nonviolence conflict reconciliation workshops, we incorporate art in different ways and colors to help young people be able to express what it looks like to be in a community where everyone can thrive as their whole authentic selves, a positive, constructive community for everyone, and what that looks like colorfully, you know. So we do things with sand and paint and a bunch of stuff that really helps us feel good about the work that we do, to be honest with you. All right, now if that's good, I'm gonna move on to something a little bit more complicated. Good. All right, let me see if this slide will move. Woo, ain't this slide hard to read, man? And the thing is this. At first, I tried to make the slide very simple for you to understand the impact of what we were doing, who we are serving, how we are reaching them. And I was working really hard. And the more clearer it got with the charts and the numbers, the less representative it is of what it takes to do this work, and how messy and complicated, and then like thinking, and then this is here and this is there. And then, but what does this mean in relationship to this? And so I'm going to do my best to break these numbers down for you and kind of just like give you a snapshot of what we've done over the last 9 months, which has culminated in our annual pilgrimage to peace, when we take an intergenerational group of community members to Selma, Alabama, to train in Kingian nonviolence and to experience a historical healing journey where we go to museums, we go to sites of tragedy in the past, we position ourselves in a movement that has been ongoing. It didn't stop with the Civil Rights Act. You know, the only thing that started was a different propaganda act, and we need to remember who we are. So, so far we have successfully completed 2 full series of Kingian nonviolence workshops. What is a full series of Kingian nonviolence workshops? That's 3 2.5-hour sessions, but they can be done over a longer period of time or a shorter period of time. We've gotten our best success from partnering with grassroots organizations in Newburgh, particularly Mark's Friends, and our core in order to reach their young people with our ideas and then synthesize and see what we can do together. So the program participants from Mark's Friends and our core, they pretty much all participated in all 3 workshops, right? So that was really successful. We missed a few because of transportation. We missed a couple because they had dance rehearsals at school. I mean, when you think about it, though, I don't blame myself because we were just 3 formerly incarcerated men at the time. That Lizette wasn't really involved in this. We weren't really thinking about doing a workshop for 13-year-old girls. So we didn't realize that there are these extracurricular activities that are not basketball. It was a good reminder and also a good opportunity to thank you, Lizette. I don't know if I told you this before, but just to affirm having a strong woman of color on our team to refer to with our uncertainties and dealing with the little girls and always wanting to make sure that the space is safe and you helping us to be able to navigate how, man, I never knew a 13-year-old girl could make you think a left is right, a right is left, and up is down, and a down is up, and even when you know better. So if it wasn't for you, we might not have been able to reach as many as we did. So I do want to say thank you for that publicly and
it was
affirm that. So we have, I think it's something like 20 young people or an intergenerational group really of 20 people that completed all 3 workshops, roundabouts. Maybe the numbers over here, if I look at them, would be better. But the better way to explain what we do, though, is really to kind of like show you and the like. We can't really, it's hard to show the impact of our work in spreadsheets and in charts and bar graphs and all these traditional methods that grassroots organizations have been asked to meet as the metrics of their success have actually been a hindrance to our work this whole time. But we survive, we reside, and we are thriving despite any of those challenges. The challenges have only just been learning curves that really have strengthened our team, our community, our sense of trust within ourselves. And not just our sense and trust that we will be there for each other, but our trust in ourselves that we are capable of showing up in the ways that not only we need from each other, but even these diverse group of young people that we just met. Immediately, the connection is there, and it comes from being authentic and organic and transparent. So what we're not, I'm not going to diminish at all anything that my brother Kenyatta put together. I'm not even going to put a qualifier on it because I watched the first 3 minutes and it's fire. So what we got for you is a 15-minute video that has that basically is our attempt to share with you through music, through voiceovers from our young people, and through images captured along the way of our journey, why it is we do this work, what's important to us, and how we're making it happen. And then there'll be like a 5-minute break where there will be music playing, but that'll be your cue. You can then like start realizing that you got to get back, do what you got to do or whatever. When the music stops, we'll come back and then we'll get an opportunity to hear from 3 of the young people that you'll see and hear from a little bit already in the video. Does that make sense? Y'all think we should swerve in any way? Okay, cool. So Kenyatta, all you got to do is hijack my screen. I'm going to go on mute.
We are the revolution. We are what we need. We see our destination, a better way to be. We are the revolution. We are what we need. We see our destination, beloved community, the community. they're singing as they come. The strong carry the weak as the many become one. Our eyes and minds are opening. We're stronger.
One of the things I learned is the difference between non-dash violence and non-violence. Non-dash violence is basically not doing anything about it, and non-violence is doing something, actually like hitting a goal and actually getting up to your goal and working harder on it.
I think the best thing I learned from the nonviolence training so far is how you can reach out to your community properly and how you can make change. Building connections with people and relationships with people, even if you don't like them or you're not friends with them or you don't see eye to eye with them, you have to build connections with people in order to achieve a greater cause.
So, what I mostly found interest to is the 3 levels: normal, pervasive, and overt. And when we started talking about it a lot, I kept on looking back to Newburgh and comparing it to here, and how I was looking at my past and thinking about how I could have lowered the situation. And they was talking about so much of what you could do, and like how you could stop yourself, all the different combinations.
Yeah, when I was in the Legacy Museum, I couldn't even like stick around in there because of how sad it was. And when I heard because there was like a hologram and they were like locked in cages, and it was a little girl, she was yelling "Mama, Mama," like repeatedly, and I almost wanted to cry because like I love my mom so much, and
my mom told me
if
about
I
it,
have
about her going to
been taken
Alabama.
away from her, like
didn't
I would
really know
probably
what we
do
were
the
going
same
to
thing.
Alabama for.
And then I
At
heard the
first,
two
I just
women
went to, like, get out of
singing
school,
for their
but now
freedom,
that I'm
and they
here,
wanted
I'm
it
happy
so
that I came and
bad,
met
but they were
new
locked
people
up,
and like
so they
learn more
couldn't.
about
But seeing all of the my statues
brother,
in the outside portion
was
of the
going
Legacy
with
Museum,
the program,
and everything looked
and
so
I was
like
informed
real
that,
and so
he
lifelike.
needed a
The
little
Legacy
chaperone, and
Museum is also
like,
another
you know,
one
you
of
can
those things I
tag along
think
if
that
you want with your
everyone should
brother.
know about, or at
And
least
I was just like,
visit.
you know, okay, I'm gonna see what all this nonviolence
Because
training
it's
is
a really
about.
like
And I
upsetting
just
place to
ended up
be, but leaving it, I got like a
I came
greater
because
sense of self
Jose
after leaving
came
it,
to
like
my
seeing
program,
like after seeing the sufferings that
and
people that look like me have been through.
then one
gave
day
me
they
a greater
just asked me if I
sense
wanted
and
to go
value
to
for my own
Alabama,
life and who I
and
am
I didn't
now.
know what it was for at first, but I just wanted to get out of Newburgh, so I said yes, and then
The first
I ended up
outside
coming.
part of the Legacy Museum, there's this huge like plaque with all like the last names of slaves, and I found my last name on there, and I think it kind of like got to me very emotionally. I looked up my last name and I found it, and I started crying.
The impact it had on me, it made me kind of rageful about it, about how it went on for so many years, a lie, and there was like nobody was doing anything about it until like 200 years later, and well, I can't speak anymore.
What y'all doing over here?
So basically what I'm doing is I'm teaching him how to apply technique. Because when you press for time and you just want to create something, right, you can use some splatter, but you got to know how to play off of shadow and light. So everything that I'm doing here, all of my darkness is coming from this side, all my highlights is going to come from this side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mold everything in a unique way, right? So like I said, I'm putting some splatter on here to give it some visual effects, so it doesn't look.
We went outside for how long, bro? Right? That thing was blank when I went outside. It had some little Sharpie on it or something.
Give you a deep understanding. The darker you go on this side, the more the light is going to appear on this one. So as I take the black and I start adding it to this piece, right?
I said it looks good.
Figured it out. Got the space unlocked.
People.
Right? Start adding this. Pull this around.
Can't talk about it. Ooh, you're making a pretty flower there.
Where'd the accent come from?
What do you mean where did the accent come from? I'm from across the... I'm from abroad. Yeah. What kind of flower is that?
A lily.
It's a lily. A peace lily?
Sure.
Where are we and when are we?
March 8th, 11 o'clock, Selma, Alabama.
What are we doing?
We're about to walk across the bridge. I do think nonviolence could work, cause like it reminds me of like one time when like these two people I know they got into a fight, and then it took like one time for them to be in a room together. They would come back out, and then later on they would end up being close friends.
And I'm gonna be able to walk the Edmund Pettus Bridge where Blaze Center took place. So that's awesome.
With nonviolence training, there is a lot of action that you can take, whether it's small or big actions. And with nonviolence training, it's not about just, being passive or being violent. It's about speaking to those in your community and your peers. And
I feel like it would work. It would just take a very long time because of what they said, like where we live and like how violent it is there, and it's violent everywhere. Even like if you turn around the corner, there's probably a shooting or a family member or a friend has been stabbed, and it's just like sometimes you just gotta take a breath, calm down, and just think about things that you do before you actually do it, and just think about how so many people have been hurt from violence, or even family members and friends. And
we are the revolution. We are what we need. We see our destination, a better way to be. We are the revolution. We are what we need. We see our destination, beloved community. The community is moving. They're singing as they come. The strong carry the weak as the many become one.
Okay, when I call your name, I want to see you move on down the line. First up, my man Peter.
Thing with nonviolence that you have to get over is letting go of self for a greater cause. But it could definitely work if enough people get onto it. because we know it can work. We've seen it work before here in Selma. We create change, so it can definitely work. It just takes people letting go of self and ego for a greater good.
When you go to nonviolence training, you learn ways where you can exercise your right to want to make a change within the world without having to ever hurt anybody. Like, I think that if everyone here is able to soak up as much as they can and learn as much that they do here within the nonviolence training, and if we take that back, we can explain that within our own schools.
I love Selma because when you see all the paintings that people would make on house walls or just parks anywhere, you could compare that to Newburgh. It expresses like gratitude, and especially with Selma here, and they'll make paintings about the history, and I saw that there was a lot of writings, a lot of graffiti paintings about Wall Free.
I feel like it would work. It would just take a very long time because of what they said, like where we live and like how violent it is there, and it's violent everywhere. Even like if you turn around the corner, there's probably a shooting or a family member or a friend has been stabbed, and it's just like sometimes you just gotta take a breath, calm down, and just think about things that you do before you actually do it, and just think about how so many people have been hurt from violence, or even family members and friends. And
I really like Selma because, like, when I came here and went to the training, like, it made me feel like I barely knew these people, and after a day, I already felt like I could come here anytime and just, like, have fun or, like, feel like I belong here.
The point of this trip and like everything I'm learning is to go back to Newburgh and teach it to other people, and that's like the greatest part of everything. That I have all this information, and it's gonna be so useful for like the rest of my life, and I know I can make a change out of all that.
We are the revolution. We are what we need. We see our destination, a better way to be. We are the revolution. We are what we need. We see our destination, beloved community. The community is moving. They're singing as they come. The strong carry the weak as the many become one. Our eyes and minds are opening. We're stronger every day, knowing we are what we need. The revolution's on its way. We are the revolution. We are what we need. We see our destination,
a documentary. All right, y'all. We're going to come back in 5 minutes. We got our young people in the audience. I don't know why they're not signed in as panelists, and I don't know how to do that. So we're gonna bring them in an emergent, strategizing way. Back in 5 minutes.
When we redeem our stolen stories, when we reveal their vicious lies, when we who see the truth speak boldly and without compromise, we hold the wisdom of our elders. We feel the passion of our young. We keep
this might be a good time to grab some water or use the bathroom, particularly if you're a young person who I'm about to be asking to speak. You know what I'm saying? It might be time to use the bathroom.
We are what we need. We see our destination, a better way to
Is the music still playing? No. Kenyatta, does that mean, damn, that was a quick ass 5 minutes. It was never that fast. When I was hungry, sitting on the gate. Hold on, let me get him off camera for this right here. We was gonna get 5 minutes. So we got 5 minutes with black screen. That 5 minutes went so fast. And there was never a time when I was in prison, starving, sitting on the gate, waiting for them to call chow, where 5 minutes ever felt that fast. Peter, y'all, I don't see Peter here. Heller is
he's with me. We're together.
look at that. You beloved community. Can y'all come off camera?
We don't have a camera option.
You have to give us option.
Wait, are y'all in a juvenile detention center? Which means you ain't got a camera option.
Like we don't like there's a show of like camera, like show our faces and
Yeah, we just have the audio button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Request camera.
Yep.
The only people I know in this field that work like that are the Department of Corrections, man. They said whoever teaching you this way of virtual communication is setting you up for a state job in corrections, man. We got to disrupt that. How about you, Anthony? No pressure. Y'all can stay off camera as well, too. We got a chance to see y'all.
I can't turn my camera either.
One more again. I ain't hear you.
I can't turn my camera either.
Okay. All right, cool. I have never been the one to camera shame anyone in my entire career. I love the virtual world opens up the opportunity to turn your camera off, and I take advantage of that every chance I want to. So we have a panel of experts in the house, y'all. This is Anthony, Heller, and Peter. You heard some of their voices. I don't know if Heller is feeling some type of way that he didn't hear his voice as much as he might have thought. But that's why you got to raise your hand more often in class, Heller. You can't be quiet for 8 hours in class and think that somebody's going to catch an audio of you saying something. All right. You with me? You can come off camera and acknowledge that we in conversation now.
Yeah. Not I can't use my camera doesn't work. Like there's no camera.
No, I mean you could come off mute. I mean now y'all don't have to stay muted unless you have some type of background noise, because I don't want to have to, since you and Peter are together, we can just kind of like popcorn this out. What I was wondering, we showed a whole bunch of images. You've seen a bunch of them. I also asked y'all to think about some of the pictures you took as part of our photo voice participatory action research project that we did while we was down there. And so did y'all have a chance to look over some pictures and you feel comfortable talking about it?
We kind of rushed on trying to look for pictures, and we ended up not finding. Well, I don't know about Peter. I didn't find any pictures, but my pictures were kind of goofy. But yeah,
well, you have a good sense of humor, man. Goofiness comes off all right. I know Antonia had found a couple. Maybe she can buy you some time and she can go first and tell you about one of those pictures. Maybe we seen the pictures that we took. Now I'm wondering, Antonia, you think? Go ahead, jump in.
You want us to pick one of the pictures that we saw in the video?
You could do that, or you could just really. What I'm looking for is, we were taking pictures with intention while we were down there, right? We had those disposable cameras that take 17 weeks to get film developed now. Like it used to be 3 days before I went to prison. How did it get turned into 3 months? But so I'm wondering, with the pictures that you were taking, maybe you just remember what kind of pictures you were taking, and like what were the things that you found yourself taking pictures of most often. And then I'm just curious as to either why, when you were taking them, or what does thinking about that now make you think about? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Peter took it. Peter jumped on the stove. Hold on. Oh, wait. Let me do this then. Jump on in there, Peter.
Okay. Grab it.
Got you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, wow.
We can turn your cameras on because you already took pictures for us. All right, we got you. You signed those media releases. We can turn your camera on for you. Don't worry about it.
I look huge.
Yeah, so I'm supposed to like just describe the pictures that I like thought were most important, or like,
Yeah.
can I? All right, so I'm gonna go look through my camera roll. The most memorable thing down there, um, I think it was like the church service we went to. I have a picture of, I do not remember his name. Well, do you think you know the pastor that came up? He's like bald, he has glasses, and he preached like a really, 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 really good sermon. That was like my favorite moment down there because like
Yeah.
I go to church like a good bit, not really by choice, but it's never like really interesting. But that was like the single handed like that was the best like sermon I've ever heard in my life. I don't think I've heard anything more engaging and like more like important, than what he said. I was like focused the entire time. I was like energized. It was like amazing. I'm not described the feeling, but it was like I liked it a lot. Wish I could like relive that experience now that I think about it. I have a few pictures of him. I think that was like one of my favorite memories from down there. It was up there. Um, a lot of pictures of like the artwork there. There's a lot of art, and that's like when you go to Selma, like the entrance by the bridge is like really like run down. It's a lot of abandoned buildings and like falling apart stuff. And then the deeper you go into Selma, it gets like prettier for some reason. I don't know why it's like that, but it's cool because it reminds me of Newburgh, because Newburgh has like a weird mix of like broken down buildings with artworks and murals all over, and then like some really like beautiful parts to it. I think the entire thing is beautiful, even like the broken down buildings, and it reminds me of like home, you know. So those pictures, like the artwork around so were some of my favorites that I took.
The person that you're speaking about, I believe, is Dr. Willie Francois. He's
Yes.
the person that I'm not. This is not a clout thing, but the person that shouted me out at the beginning. You talking about that guy, right? The one that was like, every time there's black progress, there's always a white backlash, that kind of stuff.
Yes, that one.
Yeah. Willie Francois. He's actually the program director. Big shout out to Dr. Francois, program director of New York Theological Seminary's college and prison program, the only master's degree program, survived the dismantling of Pell in 1994 all the way through and stayed relevant in our New York system. And now Willie's there, Dr. Francois is there doing his thing. It felt really good to be there and hear that speech. He had the people riled up. And I got a bunch of video from it. I'm going to share with you, Peter, if you want to hear it again. Also, yeah. I'm trying to meet with him. He's going to be coming to Newburgh soon. If you want to come out to lunch with us or something.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Heller, Antonia, either one.
That's how go. There's like a lot of background. There's a little helicopter. I don't know what's going on outside, but
You safe? Don't make me get in the car. Where's you at? Text me your address. We'll cancel this thing right now.
Deep in the trench right now. Deep in the trench.
Deep in the trenches. You in the community garden trenches for real. You over there double digging some plot for some snap peas, man. We want those snap peas.
Yeah. Basically, I love the whole trip. I took quite some pictures. I took a lot of pictures. But I have to like low-key do say the same as Peter. I love that sermon so much. Like all the time I was getting up or like clapping and I'm like, bro, this is great. And also I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but when we went to the Legacy Museum, you know how to say like don't take pictures inside the museum. Well, I did. And like those pictures are were like I look back at them and it's a reminder of what people went through and how we should always remember things like that and teach it to others so people know the history. But yeah, overall, also as Peter said, the street art The street art was awesome. I love the murals there. There was different type of um arts on the walls. It was just awesome, like a great eyesore, but a good one, you know. It was a good one. Good to see.
We caught that dope basketball court or schoolyard or whatever it was where had all the murals on there with Good Trouble and the little girl with her fist in the air. And, I'm not sure what part of Selma that was in, but it didn't look like a part of Selma that got a lot of tourist traction when we pulled up. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel it felt like it was something that was done by the community for the community. You know what I'm saying? That's why we happy to be honoring that the art that they did down there was had an impact on y'all.
Yeah.
Anthony, what you got for us, Anthony?
What's the name? The picture that I want to talk about is what's the name? The picture that I showed Carl that said it's God's will, not Trump's will. That picture, when I first saw it, I laughed because it's true. Because a lot of the stuff that Trump is doing right now is not really okay, and he's like doing a whole bunch of stuff that is so unnecessary. And I feel like he shouldn't really be in office, and he's affecting people all around us.
What was it like to be down there with your mom?
I mean, I go on a lot of vacations with her anyway, so it was nothing new.
Well, that makes me feel really good in a way that I did not expect being like, man, normal, regular stuff. I didn't never expect, to feel so good as somebody making me feel like it's just normal stuff. Because you know what I'm saying? Because you definitely deserve that strong presence that you got in your life. And it was an honor for us to be a part of it, and I have people there all the way from a 7-month-old baby. How we had a 7-month-old baby for 5 straight days from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and the baby never cried.
He cried sometimes, but
come on, Anthony. You there you go, man. You're ruining Nico's reputation. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, he's a baby, so what do you say?
I know, I'm joking. He was good, and I think he felt y'all energy over there. You was over there on that side of the room a lot. The baby had a tremendous amount. It felt the beloved community. That baby knows the beloved community before it knows anything else. And without the younger people in the room, that might not have been possible. Too much of a bridge, too much of a gap. I wonder if any of y'all want to talk about what it felt like to be the only young people in the group.
I can definitely talk about that.
Okay.
I remember there was a day and training where people were trying to find there was a scenario and the older people were trying to find a method how to stop violence in the schools, and they low-key had it all wrong because us young people are actually there and we know how we would be able to deal with stuff like that, and we kind of corrected the older people, so I felt pretty good to let them know what really goes on in our schools. Because that scenario that they're giving literally sounded like our school. So that's why we had to interfere and nah, that won't work. This would work. I don't remember much of what the actual scenario was, but it was about some this violence and how we could change this, but that won't work and this won't work, but this will. So that was pretty awesome. Yeah.
And I will say that I do remember, and I want to honor the fact that you spoke up at that time during the training. There was a lot of stuff that I seen you over there all right, whatever. Let these old people argue about these things. They aren't going to get it. But when something important popped up and we really needed somebody that had a perspective that we didn't have, I did see you step up, and we do appreciate you. That's why I rib you a little bit about not raising your hand more often, because you always got something really insightful to add. And when I hear it from a young person, it gives me hope. It's like I don't have to live forever. These kids will take care of stuff. You know, you know what I'm saying? I feel like, did we lose Antonia? Her connection wasn't that great, but I'm glad that she was able to make it. I was hoping that Kia, her mother, who also accompanied us on the trip, would have been able to speak to her experience a bit. It felt special to have a mother, daughter, and a brother, sister there. That we knew that the healing that was happening when we went to these museums and when we learned history straight from the people that lived history, we knew that it was going back to one household with two people. That, like, imagine a brother and a sister who, and one of them is a Don. I don't know if y'all were paying attention when he was talking about, you see over here, had me over here blushing a bit, talking about what really struck me was the different levels: normal, pervasive, and overt. You know, the kids paying attention, man, because these kids really want something different. They want to be able to do something as opposed to what's been being done. So I do have one more. Well, we got some time left. I wanted to open it up with some questions from the audience if anybody wanted to. Plus, I know we got Powerful in the audience if he wanted to jump on and talk to his experience as a formerly incarcerated community member. But I would be remiss if I did not ask you this, Eller, Peter.
Hello?
There. All right. I'm just making see that, silence is so powerful. I talk all the time, people don't listen. As soon as I shut up, they're like, hello, what happened? So my question is this, right? There's some people in this world who have beliefs that we, particularly Demetrius, Jose, Kenyatta, Lizette, formerly incarcerated community members who have lived closest to the problem for the majority of their lives and have come home trying to do something different. There's a lot of people that don't believe we are qualified to be the ones that are serving y'all. And I'm just wondering, like, I'm not putting you on the spot to say that we're amazing, because I know we're amazing, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, we always believe in ourselves. And I'm just saying, like, what is there anything you would say to those people having been in community with us, having learned from us, and, like, you think we qualified?
Yeah, for sure. Yes.
Well, tell them why. So I ain't got to tell them why I'm mad, you know? I'm just messing with you, man. But so if you could go back in time, right? If you could go back in time and people were making an argument that, we need to have more traditional systems and structures in place. We need to not prioritize non-traditional approaches to social justice that Jose and Kenyatta and Demetrius and Lizette are always building these other ideas. We need to just replicate the status quo. Like, what would you tell them?
I'd say that they're wrong. Because, like, the traditional methods obviously aren't working if the problem persists, and it's only getting worse. I believe it's only getting worse. But we have people like experienced in those systems. It shows like change. It shows like how people can like perform. I'm trying to like find like right words, but like it shows like how humans can like change in that traditional systems aren't. Obviously the traditional system isn't like working, but the problem is like persisting, and that the best way to reach new people, younger people, because that's where a lot of the change is going to come in, is talking to like youth, I believe, is through trying something new, because the traditional system obviously didn't reach the younger people. So I think your guys' method, it reaches us because it's a more like personal connection, and it's more honest. I think talking to you guys, it was like really like honest, and it made us understand like things like better. I don't know how to fully explain like what I'm trying to like get my point. Like I don't know if I got my point across. Like
Yeah,
right?
nah, you yeah, don't second guess yourself. You speaking your truth, and I hear you. I feel like I shouldn't have thrown all of those traditional systems kind of things. It's just about who's the credible messenger at the end of the day, man. Like who is the people that y'all feel most comfortable being honest about your struggles with, and that you will trust that we're here because we want to be here, not because we're being paid to be here or because we have some career that requires us to pretend like we care. Like we're invested and like so anyway, it may not be about traditions. It's just about whether or not we are what we need. Because at the end of the day, we we were just where you are. You know what I'm saying? And it seems like things are getting worse. And it's like every generation maybe feels that because we had that. And when things were getting worse, they scooped us up, threw us in the pipeline to school to prison pipeline and buried us for the rest of our lives. We we don't believe that the traditional systems have what it takes to stop that from happening to the kids in Newburgh. And we want to know what it does take and we're willing to do it. You know what I'm saying? So like if maybe if y'all want to tell us like what do the young people need? Tell us what you need. I know people talking about jobs a lot. I hear these young kids really wanting to work. I don't know where the employers are, but what's one thing that we could do better for the young people in Newburgh?
We need jobs.
Mm.
I think kids need jobs sometimes, or like a hobby or something. You know, after school, because like I be like thinking of some not really my friends. All my friends have jobs, but I think like other people, you know, they get home and they're not in any clubs or any sports or anything, and I'm like, what do you do?
Mm.
What are you doing? I'm like, I don't know. I just be bored, and I'm like, I understand because at some point I was like that too. I just get home and I didn't really do anything for the rest of the day. I think people need hobbies, jobs, something, and people love money. So yeah.
People love, you know, money is the permission slips we need to do the things that are important and the things that we need to do. So it's a complicated kind of thing. But what do y'all think about a community center? I was thinking like if there's people that come home and ain't got nothing to do, and like maybe we need programs for the kids, but maybe we also just need a safe place where the young people can go and play Xbox for a couple hours till their mother gets off of work or something, or like a place where they can go play video games, get a meal, go home a little later, and they ain't got to put up with none of the whatever might be going on kind of things. Like go to school, go to the community center, get fed, get tired, go home, go to bed, repeat. You know, like
Yeah, I mean,
does that sound like the Matrix or something good? I don't know.
that sounds great.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the Boys and Girls Club. With like that's like low key what it sounds like.
It's just
You know,
kids.
but it's usually like little kids, usually little
Yeah.
kids. But there's nothing really for teens sometimes.
Hmm. Okay. Well, let's affirm it. Let's affirm it now that Newburgh does have places
Yeah,
for
for
young
sure.
people to gather, even if they're not there right now. Let's say it like it's true, because this time next year, when we return from our next annual pilgrimage to peace, we may be in a position where we asking you to come paint that community center, to come over there and help us move some stuff around so we can do a little plastic greenhouse in the back. Lizette and Kenyatta love plastic greenhouses. Well,
Yeah.
let me see if does anybody have any questions?
Jose, there are questions and comments
I
in
don't
the
know how to follow any
Q&A
of that
if you
stuff.
want
You
to.
want to?
Yeah. So as you're talking about next year joining us, right? So we'll put our contact. We'll show you our contact information for those of you who want to join in. There was a comment about the umbrella. Somebody wanted to make the umbrellas, and I said, well, come on down next year, and you can make your very own. But also. Talking about we are what we need. And in this picture, you can see Kenyatta holding that sign. And it's a phrase that, after incarceration, we say a lot, from, feeding the community members to just doing, work that is needed. And that is a phrase that Kenyatta used in the song that you heard Kenyatta composed composed it, wrote the song and the music. And so that is it was a really cool way to add, what is done in the work into, his area of specialty, which is singing, singer-songwriter. And so there's a question for our young people here on the call. The question is, how did participating in the trip and training influence your leadership ambitions, if at all? And was there anything you left is there anything you felt really more curious about or surprised by?
Somebody coming for my moderator job.
Heller
It took a
Peter.
lot of effort to make those slides, just so you know.
Hello.
Wonderful.
Sorry. May you repeat the question?
Yes. How did participating in this trip and training influence your leadership ambition, if at all?
Oh,
And was there anything you felt more curious about or something that surprised you while you were down there?
I first when I learned so much in that training, like first day I know I wanted to come back to Newburgh and like be like something along those lines that will teach others and that like I could be important in a good way. And I definitely want to make a change with all the information that I learned. That's like my main goal. It influenced me a lot, like seeing all these great people. I met Bernard Lafayette. That was a great experience and like learning his history, his story. I was like, I want to do something like that in my life. I want to make changes in my neighborhood and in the world eventually. But yeah, yeah.
Um, I think the thing that like really shocked me the most was they're able to change like a mindset or a view that I heavily like agreed with or believed in. When I first heard it presented, like the idea that like you shouldn't retaliate against violence with violence or against certain situations with violence. I thought that was wrong. 100%. I don't understand that. Like there's like a Kendrick Lamar song where he has a lyric. He says, he's telling the story. He's like, if somebody kills my son, then that means somebody's getting killed, and that's like a little bit extreme, but that's like you have to like get that type mindset. And I agreed with like that point of view, and I didn't understand like accepting like suffering for a greater cause. And I was really surprised that they were able to change how I viewed that and to understand what Dr. Lafayette stands for and how that works for him and how he was able to create change. So if I was to ever like lead any political movements or anything, or just try to achieve anything, just take a step back and build community with the enemy or the aggressor instead of fighting against, what I'm working against. And if that makes sense. I thought that was like really mind-blowing. That's what I really got to experience.
Thank you. The second part of the question is there anything that you were more curious about or anything that surprised you?
I think that's what I was like surprised by. They're able to like really change my mind and my views. And Dr. Lafayette's stories were really surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I like surprised myself by like I felt not great that I didn't know what the South had been through. And then when I found out, like wow, like I know this now, so I was like shocked. And I'm happy that I know now. But I then I was surprised, like why do I not know this and why am I not taught this in school? So yeah, that was that like shocked me a little bit. And then I think also I was curious about how these people like people are able to make changes. Like I was still curious on how they get to that level. Um yeah. Sorry, just give me 1 second. Sorry, my mom came back from work. What was I talking about? I'm sorry. What's talking about?
You
Oh
were
yeah, I
saying
was
something about being curious about
curious.
history or
Yeah,
something, the
I'm curious.
stories that Lafayette told you. Maybe you wanted to. Didn't you get a book or something that you could read to
Yeah,
learn more about that and satisfy your curiosity?
we did. We
A
did.
signed book?
And yes, indeed, we did receive books that are signed by Lafayette and his wife.
Mama
Um,
Kate.
yes, Mama K, yes. And I've read like a little bit of it. I can't say I hate reading. I'm not gonna lie to you. I do not like to read, but I did start reading it, and it definitely intrigued me a little bit. So I guess in the book I can learn on how to make changes. So I will read more, and I'm happy that I was able to receive um a literal book from Lafayette. So yeah,
Mm.
We're
There's
definitely
one,
cool.
gonna
there's
we're
one last
just to
question.
just real quick. We're gonna You're gonna have an opportunity to learn through lived experience how to affect change. Our whole, like you, Heller in particular, have expressed the most interest at translating what you've been learning into the community that you live in. And so we're 100% expecting to support you in something that you care about and that you think needs to be changed, and for us to resource the kind of organizing that will get you what the young people want. Like, you're gonna be a voice for other young people. And I think, I don't know if you was gonna go in the chat, Lizette. I know somebody was asking if any of your schoolmates or any of your peers have that you've talked to about this, if you even have expressed interest in wanting to do it too, or does it just seem like something that you got to do and they never would? Does that?
Uh,
Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, I'm my big friend group, and I'm like, I talked to them the whole trip. They're asking me, "Yo, bro, what are you even doing over there?" And like, I would try to explain, and I did, but they're like a little ignorant. I guess people my age like to be ignorant. So I'm like, yo, like I'm seeing like what people went through, and like they don't. I guess they don't have much interest, but I guess in person it's different because in person you definitely learn more. Like if I told them in person, like, oh, I witnessed this and this, and they could be more interested. I think there's people in our school who are mostly like that actually like to learn about history and how to have a voice for the youth. And I wish I could meet more of those people. I don't really meet those like kids my age. Like, that's what I definitely want to do, meet kids my age that actually want to make a change in our community. Because I tell my friends that I want to make a change in our community. I want to do protests. Because I was trying to start a protest for a thing about our administration and how they're trying to deport our people, and I was trying to organize one, but I struggled to find somebody to organize it with. It's like my age, so that was like a problem. And people like tell me, "Oh, that's silly. You're not gonna do anything. You're not gonna actually gonna change anything. Like Newburgh will stay like Newburgh." I'm like, That's not true." You know, no, I want to prove people wrong for sure at some point.
Mm. Well done. Thank you for that. And we can, let us know if you want us to support you, because
Yeah, for sure.
so that's it, Jose, in the Q&A.
I want to see if Star Kim wants to. Star Kim, you still here? I'm gonna pull you up if you want to come up. You want to talk about your experience. Otherwise, I think that's good enough right there, man. Did I pull him up? He might not be. I told him, the situation. He might just be listening right now. He might not even be listening no more. He might be. If you really knew Powerful, you would know that he is an amazing chef, and it is very likely that around this time he might be making something that he really enjoys, and hopefully he's going to be able to share it with someone whose company he enjoys also. But reminder, Heller, and then also an afterthought for the Selma thing. We gave you a bunch of stuff. I didn't give you a bunch of structure for what exactly the programming is that we do and all of the curriculum and all of that. There's always there's seems to be like there's always going to be a place to have that conversation. What there needs to be more spaces for is for us to witness the humanity of other people and witness the humanity that's impacted by the work and not by the intentions. You know, we're talking about impact and not intentions. But we took 6 emerging adults to Selma, Alabama in the middle of a school semester for 10 days. So now our team of qualified master degree holding and childhood educators and college professors are charged with providing academic support for these 6 young people over the next 4 to 6 weeks. We're going to make sure that their academic trajectory is not thrown off by their historical healing journey. And that also we're going to work really hard to make sure that emerging adults who are nearing college age will be able to get college credits for their experience and their training certificate that they earn while they're in Selma. I'm pretty certain that I can get our young people at least 3 college credits when they enter a state university of New York based off their prior learning experience with the Selma Center for Truth, for Nonviolence, Truth, and Reconciliation. So I just want to throw that out there that it's we're trying to disrupt cycles of violence, but we're prioritizing education also. And so Kenyatta, Lizette, would y'all like to add anything, or we can sign off? This was long enough. We appreciate it. All of
I would like
the
to
fine
say,
people who stayed.
Yes, thank you. Thank you to the folks who stayed. Let me give a shout out to my mom because I mean I'm probably not gonna get to catch a touchdown in the NFL and say she's just hey mom. So this is my touchdown. Um I would like to say that this has been the trip to Selma itself, the experience of having the opportunity to talk to Heller, talking to Peter, all the young people we had a chance to spend time with them. Y'all are so sharp and insightful and so willing to share information when we are willing to listen. So that's an important lesson and something that I think that I can, not I think, I know that I can take back with me as I move about in spaces that I can let folks know, hey, the answer is actually, we can go find out the answer because they'll tell you. You just got to go ask them and stop, sitting in these rooms, in these spaces, and these places where that you don't allow them to come into and making determinations. So yeah, I just want to just really thank y'all for trusting us, for welcoming us from the first time that we came in to our core, man. And I appreciate being in community with you, and I look forward to continuing.
I want to echo that thank you, and also shout out to my mommy. She's on the call too. Hi. But having the young people go down to Selma was like the hit of the trip, right? Like everybody at the center was really impressed and enamored by their presence. Everybody at the church was really impressed and enamored by their presence. But I also really want to thank the parents who trusted this team, that they hadn't met us, and they entrusted their children with us for 10 days. They got picked up at like 5:30 in the morning. They got dropped off at like 2 o'clock in the morning. And they were there. The moms were there, in the pajamas on the curb, like, thank you for bringing my baby back, but it's just a testament to the work that after incarceration is doing, the how the young people are sharing what they're learning at home and with their friends, so much so that parents are willing to as we said, lend us their children for 10 full days. So again, thank you, Heller, Peter, and everybody else. I think Antonia came back as well. Thank you for trusting the process and for your willingness to come on this adventure. And I hope you guys want to come back next year and help us facilitate, this time around. So
Thank you.
course.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you guys for us. For the opportunity to go to Selma. Never forget it.
Yes,
I hope we're able to go next year for sure.
Yeah. Thank you guys for the opportunity. Thank you guys for allowing us to come and share some of our experiences and present too.
Very grateful.
Yes.
Of course.
Y'all give us hope, bro. On some. I know what it's like to be in a world with no hope, where it's like every day you just gotta figure out a reason to hope, and there ain't a lot of reminders around where there's hope. So like the way that y'all approach life and y'all willingness to try to build out something different than what you was born into is super encouraging for us. And Heller, you want to organize a children's crusade in Newburgh, New York? You already know who you can holler at. But and also definitely got to give. I mean, it's the end. I probably ain't nobody here. There's only 2 minutes left. But so what? I got enough time left to say we love you, Christine Hutchinson, who was actually been our entry point into Newburgh going back 5 years now. So like these parents trusted us because they trusted the people that they trusted their kids with. And it literally took us 5 years to earn the trust of community-based organizations in Newburgh by giving of ourselves and asking nothing in return, and to get to the point where we could do this. We would not have been able to do what we did without Jamaica at Mark's Friends, Christine's at with our core, the people at Land to Learn that let us use their space to do workshops. Mark's Friends helping us out with our food distribution. There's been so many intersections that make us feel good and welcome in Newburgh. And I just want to end by saying that we will never, like, Newburgh is home.